places feel familiar, like a memory I've forgotten, or maybe one I never had in the first place. These are the spaces between here and there, places forgotten by time, only existing in transition. These, my friends, are liminal spaces. The best definition I was able to find on what a liminal space is an aesthetic related to the unique and combined feeling of eeriness, nostalgia, and apprehension one gets when presented with a place outside of their design context. I've been pretty fascinated with these places for a long time, and I will try my best to explain why. Have you ever been in a place that's usually full of people, but then all of a sudden you find yourself completely alone? Like when you're at an evening event at school and you decide to roam the side of the school that nobody is currently in and all the lights are off. There's this strange eeriness to it. And it's not just quiet, it's almost as though the place has a presence of its own, and it knows you're there, and it knows you're not supposed to be there. And I think that's what I find interesting about these spaces, that they can make you feel both comfort and eeriness just by existing. They weren't necessarily designed to be nostalgic or eerie, but when they're empty, they just transform. In this video, I kind of want to bring that feeling to life. I want to try and capture that and help communicate why these places are so fascinating. So for those of you who are new here, this channel exists to explore the different mediums and methods of storytelling. And I thought liminal space photography would be a perfect topic to explore the idea of how to execute atmosphere. Not many people have been able to put much of a definition to atmosphere within the context of a story, because what it really boils down to is just feelings. Atmosphere is what you do to immerse your audience further into the scene that you're presenting. I think a lot of the time this can be mistaken for something like style or aesthetic, which are present in a lot of things such as movies, but a majority of the decisions made are things that are put in place in order to further immerse you into the world, to give it texture so that you can see what the main character is seeing and feel what the main character is feeling. Okay. Forgive me if this setup looks terrible. This is literally the jankiest thing I've ever done. So we're going to be diving a little deeper into this topic of atmosphere. If this doesn't interest you at all and you'd like to just see me take the photos, feel free to skip to here. So to get a kind of more rounded idea of what atmosphere is and how we can achieve it practically, I call up my buddy Noah. Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Yeah.
Great. Noah is an industry professional that has managed to make a living off of making music videos, documentaries, and movies. It's practically his job to craft atmosphere. So I wanted to pick his brain on this topic. What components play into a well-crafted atmosphere?
Atmosphere is guided by, really all aspects. It is the kind of the blood and the flow of what is a film. When I come to a project, we've got our script and now we're in pre-production. We're thinking about the individuals that we're bringing on board for actors. We're thinking about the locations. We're thinking about how to execute what it is that we're creating. So whether that's the lighting or the camera equipment or the crew, all of these things, we're thinking about them. And then as we go down the creative process, atmosphere just naturally gets baked in to what it is that you're doing.
So basically, like, you're saying even just like the location you're filming in can be a tool that plays into like your atmosphere. It doesn't necessarily have to be like your specific lighting, your specific sound design, your specific music or something like that. Even the place you're in emits a vibe that could be there without you doing anything.
100%. Atmosphere is essentially the tone. It's like a very similar aspect to tone and voice of your film is at least my perspective, is that like atmosphere is an encompassing of what it is that the vibe is of your project. Atmosphere is going to be cultivated through the set deck and through the music in post-production and the lighting of your scene. In tangible atmosphere, but then also in kind of atmosphere, which is more like emotional subtext and atmosphere as well, I guess. Yeah. It is the energetic space in which your project is living within. So whether that's the lighting or the camera equipment, atmosphere is created upon all of those individual things.
Yeah, for sure. So Noah mentioned that almost everything plays into this idea of atmosphere. So theoretically, if we were to break down each individual component of these photos, we should be able to get a better understanding of why these photos are making us feel the way they do. So let's take this photo that I showed earlier, which is one of the most popular liminal space photos to date. What are the individual components in this picture telling us? First, let's take a look at the most obvious, location. This location has a lot of nostalgic components to it. The carpet, the fluorescent lights, the wallpaper. All these places speak to memories of similar places we've been before. We can all imagine how the carpet feels. We can all hear the buzzing of the fluorescent lights above. Next, let's look at the coloring. The room seems to have a slightly green hue to it, which historically has been used in cinema and photography to give a sense of unease. So this communicates to the audience that there's something wrong or unnatural. And lastly, let's look at the camera quality. Shooting with low quality or an older camera can psychologically associate your subject with the past, making it an effective method to evoke nostalgia. And for this reason alone, the FX3 is not going to cut it for this. If we're going to take any good photos this video, we're going to need to pull out the big guns. That's pretty good. This thing is perfect, and it's got everything we're gonna need for this project. It's got photos, it's got videos, it's got music, it's got games. Wait, what the heck? What the heck? Games on camera? I will not be playing those. No one ever talks about how loud silence can be. when given the opportunity, it takes on a form of its own. And it watches you. How could something like that be so haunting? And yet so beautiful? Childlike wonder is what used to fill these places. But now, that just seems like a distant memory. I think that's what gives these pictures their almost dreamlike qualities, in the sense where we know these places, but we don't know them in these contexts. And so it almost feels as though we're being given a glimpse into a set from our childhood, absent of context, noise, and life. The more I actually took time to find these places, the more I realized they can be found almost anywhere. It's just that often these places actually end up being quite hard to find because the places themselves are relatively insignificant. Often no one really remembers the place between two spaces, but it seems as though liminal space photography manages to find beauty in that entirely. Now, you might have been watching this video and felt nothing from these photos, and that's okay. So much of what makes art meaningful on an individual basis is our own experience. Liminal space photography isn't about the space itself, rather you in relation to the space, reflecting something personal, maybe even sacred. And it's this that gives these photos meaning. Not so much the space itself, but the emotion that it stirs in you. You and I have not lived the same lives, nor do we share the exact same experiences, but I think one of the quiet beauties of liminal space photography and even art as a whole is that through them we find small glimpses of unity. Moments where the beautiful parts of our lives seem to overlap, as if for just a second we're remembering the same thing. Longing for a simpler time, a time where our hearts were once at peace. But that's not where it has to end. I've been trying to figure out what this feeling is, and what the takeaway from it all should be. And I think the conclusion that I've come to is that liminal space photography exists to capture the beauty of the in-between. I think I'm realizing that we live in the in-between, always either looking back to what was or wondering what could be. C.S. Lewis once said that our longing for beauty, for memories, for the past is really a longing for something beyond. We're looking for it in things we know, in places, in memories, but these are just glimpses. They're only the scent of a flower we haven't found, the echo of a tune we haven't heard. And maybe that's the point. It's not about the past, it's not about the future, it's about the in-between, the here, the now. But even in the in-between, we still find ourselves longing for something greater than we can see right now. A place where all these echoes and glimpses lead us home. Maybe that's what we're all looking for. Home we haven't reached yet. Thank you for watching my very first video. If you at all enjoyed it, please feel free to subscribe and to show your support. I got more videos like this coming down the pipeline, but I also plan to do some lighter vlog style videos just to keep the uploads a little more consistent with easier content to edit, because this one took way too long. Thanks again.